Welcome to the Locker Room, where this morning we'll unlock the best in the sports world. Let's go to the studio with the Minister of Sports, Minister Daryl Natillo.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Locker Room podcast. I'm Daryl Natillo. I see we got people on already. This would be a great show tonight. I hope my people are on the right links. I sent out a few links here tonight for this podcast. Here's my disclaimer. Read it at your own risk. The last show I had, we had some guys really bringing the leather as far as conversation. But tonight, someone asked me, what's your favorite sport? I said, I love football, but I'm in love with baseball. And tonight, I got some of my greatest baseball friends and family on the podcast today. I got a few people still trying to log on, but tonight I got two on right now. The guy on the right-hand side, my cousin, he's the head baseball coach at Mainland Senior High School, the only black head baseball coach in Volusia County, Mr. Coach A.J. Mallory. Say hello to the folks, A.J.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing?
We're doing great out here. And the guy down in the bottom, oh, my God. As a senior, we lost him. So AJ, while I got you on, okay. You had a great baseball year at Mainland High. Tell us about how you rebuilt that program.
It wasn't necessarily a rebuild. It was just a reload. Mainland has always been a up and down school. We get baseball players here and there. But what I can say is in the last 4 years, we have rebuilt or reloaded to have some players, some parents, and a backing through the community that has assisted us in doing some really good stuff for the Mainland baseball program.
The guy down at the bottom, in 1981, he pulled me out of the great Bethune-Cookman University and gave me a job. My first job out of college, working with the Daytona Beach Astros. Let's welcome to the show, Don Mears. Hello, Donnie.
Hey, Daryl, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Great to see you again.
Good to see you as always. I tell you what, I can't believe you were like 21 when we grabbed you out of that school, and here we are still friends after all these years.
Yeah, I'm 67 now, buddy. 67.
Oh, my God. How'd you get older than me?
Hey, Don, you kind of know the baseball coach at Mainland. Tell us how you know him.
Well, I've been going to watch Mainland High School for the last 4 years because my grandson, Ryan Allen, was his second baseman and his left fielder. And I was going to all the games. And this year I didn't miss one. Had a ball. I mean, I absolutely loved it. I knew this was Ryan's last year playing. I didn't want to miss any of them. Unfortunately, I lost my wife last year. Patty and I used to go to all the games when we could. But I would drive over from Daytona every home game. Got to know his mom. She was there working hard, selling all the concessions, and just loved going to the games. AJ did a great job, with the talent he had. And, man, I just loved it. I just loved watching the kids play.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that.
AJ is a football coach. He works at Mainland, baseball coach. He's an all-around guy. He done won some championships too. Look at that. He won a few championships. But main thing, he has brought the Mainland Buccaneers back to respectability as a baseball coach. AJ, talk to us a little bit about, again, your program and what are you doing?
Well, in the last couple of years, we have been growing. My very first year, 2020, right off of COVID, we had a really good season. We had some ball players, with me coming in from football, I brought in some football players who hadn't played baseball in a while, and it shocked quite a few people, quite a few coaches with the talent that I had that wasn't baseball realm known. The couple years after that, once they graduated, we struggled a little bit, but we kept working. That was Ryan's first year, that second year coming in. And this year, putting together a group of 5 seniors and 10 underclassmen. We played well together. That has been my thing. We were able to play well together. The boys were friends off the field, and they were able to play well together while they were on the field. Best season so far being 9-9, losing to be in the semifinals of the district championship.
You there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay. You know, your cousin, I played a little bit of baseball at Mainland too. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
1972, I was the first baseman for the Buccaneers.
Yes, sir.
Boy,
I played a little baseball at Mainland.
that's before we had colored film. Was still black and white
Before we
back then.
had color pictures. Okay. I want to introduce a couple of more of my guests just popped in down to the bottom down there. Is Mr. Bobby Gilbert Jr. Bobby was a former Wildcat baseball player. He's now the CEO of the Florida Minority Baseball Alliance down in South Florida. Hello, Bobby.
Hey, how you guys doing? How's everyone
Doing
doing?
great. We're doing great, man.
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Okay. Now down to the very bottom left. Look, he's drinking. Hey, what you think he's drinking, Don? Kool-Aid.
He's got to be drinking Kool-Aid because that is Kool-Aid.
We called him Kool-Aid when he was with the Daytona Beach Astros and the Houston Astros. Welcome to the podcast, Ty Kool-Aid Gainey. What's up, Ty?
Nothing much, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Hey,
I
Ty,
love it.
how you doing, Ty?
Hey, that's an awesome general manager right there. The best in the business. Hey, Don.
Yeah, hey.
Ty, what a great year we had in '82, man.
Oh,
What
my
a
God.
what a year. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Ty's from Mexico.
Yep, this is
Hey,
my home now.
Mexico's your home?
Yes, it is.
Well, you're
All
a
right.
legend down there, man.
Well, that's why I stay here.
Hey, I got a problem with Ty. See this picture right here?
What's wrong
Ty
with it?
taught me how to chew tobacco.
Oh no.
We
Nice
used to chew
bubble
that
gum.
Levi Garrett, man, every day, man, for the Astro. Look at that big chaw in his jaw.
That's with bubble
He taught
gum.
me how. Nah, man, that's Levi Garrett on top of bubble gum.
Yeah, I put it that way. Yeah.
You know, Ty was an outfielder for the Astros. And Ty, quickly tell us about your career, because we kind of lost you, man, after '82. What happened?
I went to first I went to Japan for 2 years, then come back to Mexico in the league. Then I went to Taiwan, and I finished up in Mexican league.
Okay, and you're still in the Mexican League now. What are you doing in the Mexican League now? You're coaching and doing the instruction or what?
I was the coordinator for hitting in Oaxaca and at the academy. We've got 2 major league teams. Our owner owns bought 2. He owns Oaxaca and then he owns the Mexico Reds, Diablos. So
Oh, okay.
I work here at the academy as advisor for
Okay.
for all the hitting.
Okay. That's great, man. Good to see you still. Hey, I remember you from Charles, South Carolina, right? Something like that.
Oh my God! Yes, from Sherrill, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Charles, South Carolina, because all my people from Carolina, we might be cousins. You know, you never know. We shoot the same tobacco. I knew. Hey, I want to shoot over to my good friend, Mr. Bobby Gilbert, former Wildcat baseball player. You see him right there in the Wildcat uniform. Matter of fact, the Wildcats are playing Texas Southern right now. They were tied 2-2 in the bottom of the 8th over in Sanford. The Wildcats need to win 2 of the 3-game series to clinch the SWAC championship regular season. Bobby, tell us a little bit about your program and what you got going, buddy. Bobby?
The photo that you just had up, that was actually against FAMU. It was a weekend series against FAMU, and we absolutely destroyed FAMU. I just want to go on record saying that live tonight, fam. Nothing. Okay, but anyways, no, man. So I'm down here in the state. I'm down here in South Florida and West Palm Beach, and we have an organization called Florida Minority. Baseball Alliance, and we have coaches from Miami all the way to the Panhandle of Florida. Our brother AJ is a part of that now. What we did was we wanted to synergize our efforts, right? We have a lot of coaches, especially in specific areas that don't have a lot of connections with college coaches or scouts, things like that. So we say, you know what? How about we bring all of it together? We all come together at one, and then we just start sharing the information, sharing our resources and things like that of that nature. And so we've been hosting something that's called the Florida Shine Classic for the last 2 years. And in the last 2 years, we were able to put in 30 plus kids in the college, receiving a college scholarship or becoming a prospect in Major League Baseball. And so we're not a showcase business. We're a coaches alliance. And that's all we're doing. We're connecting with other coaches, and we're saying, listen, we're going to go ahead and do it because everybody else is able to connect with each other. So we said it's time for us to connect and synergize our efforts and get this thing going. So we'll be in Daytona this year. You see the parent conferences up here, which is a lot of great information. We have the Ricky Weeks' father is going to be coming down to speak. Benny Bicar, which is at Southern University. Marvell Melendez and his crew is going to come down.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke to Merv. Merv should be down here, man. So hopefully you get a chance to see Merv again. I know you guys are
Good.
cool with each other. So Merv will be down. And we have Lewis Brinson's mom. She's going to be here. Lewis Brinson's going to be here for the event. So we got a couple guys that's going to be around the way to kind of give some inspiration to these ball players and these parents.
Nice.
Okay.
Good job.
That's nice. Before we go any further, I want to take a little short break because I'm still waiting for some of my guests to come on. I want to give a couple of shout outs out. I want to give a shout out to my niece, Corinne Mitchell from Chicago, Illinois. She just graduated in neuroscience from Xavier University in New Orleans. So shout out to my niece. Give her a great round of applause out there in Radio Land.
Nice
That's
job.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. The next shout out I like to give to this young lady right here, man. I've known her since she was 19, 20 years old. The great Miss Aubrey Shine out of Atlanta, Georgia. She is now the creative content director for a cartoon called The YN. Don, you know what YN means?
No.
Young N-words.
Oh my God.
Young N, you know, it's from the block. She's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She's a creative young lady. I like to give her a shout out. I talked to her earlier. I told her I was going to help her put her program out there. I want to give a quick shout out to her. I'm still waiting on Lula Richards to come on. But let's continue to talk about baseball. A lot of African American kids are not playing baseball. Coach Mallory, can you kind of expound on that and tell us what's the story with that?
I know for my area, it is, for the world of baseball, it is tough to, first off, finance.
Oh, man.
Going into the world of baseball. It's hard. If you're going to go travel ball, if you're going to work, if you're going to do that during the summer, those things cost. And the financial dynamic that we have as African Americans, we don't technically have that luxury. Not all of us. Some of us are able to pay that fee, but from what I've seen, it is extremely expensive. I know of some who have sacrificed a lot to just let their sons play during the summer, during the school year, and continue to play. That's just one part of it. The other part is, I don't think, and this is just me, but I don't think they can see the blueprint. They see a blueprint for football. They see a blueprint for basketball when it comes to African American players. They see it. They don't have a person that they can put their finger on, that they can see, that they can say, okay, this is how he did it. I'm going to do it the exact same way. They're very far and in between.
I like that you said that. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
Bobby.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Can I go ahead and
Yeah, go ahead.
I love the fact that Brother AJ said that, because that's one of the reasons why we're having that parent conference, because that's why we're bringing in Ricky Weeks' father, right? Ricky Weeks Sr. That's why we're bringing in Benny Bicar's mom. That's why we're bringing in Lewis Brinson's mom, so that way they can talk about the journey. What happened? How did things take place? Who did you guys contact? What showcases did you guys attend? Like, these type of things are things that our parents need to hear, because that information is important. Sometimes it's the information that you lack, right? I mean, the finances are one thing, but information that you lack sometimes will keep you in the dark more than anything else, right? So because we will find money to kind of pay for our kids' shoes, Jordans that cost $1,000, which I'm exaggerating, you know what I mean? But we can find the money, but sometimes just having the information behind it is something that they actually really need. So I'm glad you said that. That's the reason why we're having that parent conference on June 5th.
I think I know one of your guest speakers by the name of Daryl Natil. I think I'm going to be there. Myself.
Yes. Yeah. That guy's going to be there, and he's going to be able to take this thing to a whole new level.
I appreciate the offer, man. I thought I couldn't squeeze it in my schedule, and let me tell you something. God made a way.
Yes,
because
he did.
he asked me 3 times. Every time I said no, God said yes. And he made a way for me to be in there. I'd like to welcome another guest on tonight. We're going to segue into her all the way from Houston, Texas. My girl, the wife, the widow of the former Major League Baseball player from the Houston Astros, Miss Lula Richards. Hey, Lula, how you doing?
Blessed. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, we're praying for you and your sister. Since you told me that today, I had on my prayer list. I hope everything goes well with her.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we're talking about baseball. I know you know a little bit about baseball because you were married to one of the best pitchers that ever graced the mound, Mr. J.R. Richards. Before we go there, I want to go back to this conversation we're having about our young kids playing baseball. I have 2 godsons in Pennsylvania. They live 10 miles from Williamsport. These 2 guys right here, that's Jackson and Mitchell. They're playing baseball. They're the only African Americans in the whole league. And their father, that's their father, Algernon Woos. He got a FAMU hat on. I got to cut that FAMU hat out. But he took them to Williamsport this year, and they had the opportunity to go to the Little League World Series. But we really want to get a lot of our African American kids back into the game of baseball. So, Mr. Gilbert, you want to tell us again a little bit more about your program before we move on?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Yes, so with us and right now and what we're doing with Florida Shine Classic is that we host this one event every year for the top minority kids in the state of Florida. So we have kids coming from all the state of Florida for this event. One of the things that we were trying to do is we want to make sure that we're able to connect these kids to college coaches and professional scouts. That's one thing I know they don't have the opportunity to do. We would love to be able to partner with all people that have been in the game of baseball that look like this. They need kids, they need people to look up to. And one of the things that we found is that a lot of times, just in general, we always look for the people that we know, right? Somebody that we can relate to. So you can go into any type of situation, doesn't matter if it's a club or it's at a bar or a restaurant, and you see there's nobody that looks like you specifically, but then you find that one person like, oh, all right, cool. I might be all right. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way naturally it is for us, right? We want to try to gravitate to people that actually have that kind of, they share the same qualities or same morals or same values or something like that. But so having this event is something that we host every year. We would love to connect with anybody that will be a part of it. And thank you, ma'am, for allowing us to be on here with you tonight, ma'am, because you are an honor to me. And so is Mr. Don. These guys are legends. And so so are you, Mr. Ty. You guys are legends. I'm just an old Florida boy just trying to make it in the game. And so I appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you wonderful people.
Hey, Ty, you're in Mexico. You know, how many kids you see playing baseball in Mexico? That's a lot of kids playing baseball.
A lot of kids. We have every year we average maybe 62 to 63 kids that stay here at the academy. And what we do is we train them. We don't play games. We train them for this. We have a lot of showcases. We have 3 showcases a year, and out of those showcases, we probably will sell maybe 8 to 9 players. But here is more pitchers than hitters. Yeah, and the owner, he doesn't take no money. All the money
Wow.
goes. All the money go to the family, and plus they have 3 meals a day, and they have school. So they didn't
That's
have to.
incredible.
They don't have to spend a dime. All they have to do is work their butt off and try to get a signee out of these bunch.
That's incredible. That's absolutely great. AJ, you helped rebuild the program. And man, I keep saying rebuild, but you had a couple of kids that fared very well. Tell us about this kid right here.
Helmet Waters, homeschool kid who found his way to Daytona Beach. First off, an amazing young man outside of baseball. Amazing young man. Like, I wish I would have had the opportunity to coach him for 4 years. Like, he brings a smile to my face, and I'm talking with a smile because that's the way he is. Like, Helmet is that guy who brings a smile. He definitely is one of those ones who brought some talent. He was able to do some stuff for us on the mound. He plays some third base. He can play first. He's one of the few, and I had about 4 who could probably play. No, I have 2. I had 2 that can play every position on the field. Helmet was one of them. The other one is the person that you see on the screen right now, and that's Jordan Payne. Jordan Payne has played almost every position. If he was probably 5 inches taller, he could play first base too, but he isn't. But he's played every single position for us. He even caught his sophomore year a little bit for us, and he was like, "Coach, I haven't caught since I was in Little League." I was like, "We just need for you to show these young ones that there's somebody else that can do it, that will push them just a little bit more." He was like, "I got you, Coach."
Yeah.
So those 2 guys were very pivotal in our growth this year.
AJ, let me tell you, Jordan was my favorite player other than my grandson. I love watching Jordan play.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Jordan is a spark plug.
Definitely. And I think his younger brother may even be better.
He has the tools.
He does, doesn't he?
He has the tools.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the Payne brothers will be with us at the Florida Shine Classic this year. They received their invites. And so they came highly recommended. And so they'll be with us this year and at Jackie Robinson Ballpark to play in front of these college coaches and scouts. I think Jordan's already committed to
Savannah State.
Savannah State, correct.
Yes,
Savannah State. It's awesome.
Hey,
that is awesome.
Hey, Ty, before you came on, I just want to let you know that my grandson, Matt's son, who was 2 years old when you met him in 1982, Matt's son, my grandson, played for AJ this year. He's leadoff hitter, and he led the team in stolen bases and runs scored.
A Jack Rabbit, let me tell you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
How come we haven't heard about this guy, Mr. Mallory, sir?
We'll talk later. We'll talk later about it.
All right. Right now, we're going to segue into the big show. What I want to do is I want to change the mood right here. Everybody see the background right now is the locker room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to my first home, the Houston Astrodome.
Let's do it.
My first job working with Don sent me to the Houston Astrodome. I remember sitting behind home plate. San Francisco Giants manager was Frank Robinson, and I just sniffed and smelled everything he was doing. I just lost Lula because I'm getting ready to go to Lula. I just lost her. I'm going to try to wait for her to get back on. But I want to show you guys something, and we're going to try to see what we can do tonight to make this happen. Let's see, where am I here? Hold on one second, guys.
The Houston Astros, James Rodney Richard. Richard with a record of 10-4. He comes in, however, after struggling in his last couple of starts. He has been experiencing stiffness in his right forearm. He uses the word fatigue to describe it into a high blue sky. On the ground, Davey looks. They caught for him, and Willie Randolph is out.
Awesome. Awesome.
The most dominant pitcher in the game.
JR was on his way to being the best pitcher I'd ever seen.
Poster child for a Hall of Fame pitcher. Then suddenly, a life-threatening injury ended his career.
Was the second pick overall by the Houston Astros. in the 1969 Major League Baseball draft. He was drafted right out of high school. He made his Major League Baseball debut in the fall of 1971 at the tender age of 21. Richard won over 107 games in his Major League Baseball career. His entire career was spent with the Houston Astros. During his career, he struck out 1,483 batters. In 1980, he experienced a stroke, which ended his Major League Baseball career.
You see this guy right here? He looks a little bit like the guy down at the bottom of the screen. Matter of fact, that is that guy. That's Mr. Don Mears, the general manager of the Daytona Beach Astros, the Class A affiliate of the Houston Astros back in 1980. Don, I'm going to give you the floor right now. I want you to recall what exactly happened to JR and how did he fall in our lap? And how did you pull me into this whole thing? I'm going to give you the floor right now.
All right. So he has a stroke in 80. He struggles, trying to get back on his feet. By 81, he's exercising, he's working out. And by 82, it's like, okay, he's ready to start pitching routine again. And back then, there was not this current wave of rehab like we have today, where they send major league players down to minor league teams to rehab. He might have been the first one ever to come down for a rehab assignment. And we were so lucky. Didn't send him to AAA, in a AA Columbus, Georgia. They sent him to us. I remember the phone call from Al Rose, gentleman. He said, human being, he's a commodity, but you have got to watch him 24/7. You don't know what it's going to be like. He's going to be away from his family. He's going to be away from his friends, away from anybody with authority watching over him. But we've got to keep our eyes on him 24/7. We don't want him to do anything that's going to hurt him on his way to recovery. So we need somebody to watch him 24/7. And I'm like, okay, right? And who can do that? And Darryl grew up in Daytona. He knew the ins and outs of that city. He knew where to go, where not to go, where JR wanted to go out. He wanted to keep away from fight clubs, whatever. And I knew Darryl at a young age because Darryl worked for me in 81. And that one year, I fell in love with this guy. His work ethic, his charisma. Darryl is the perfect guy. Darryl, put what's on the line, put in your lap. But man, what a job you did. And I'll never forget, after the month of June of 82 that JR spent with us, he skipped AA Thomas and went to AAA to pitch. And after his first couple days, he was interviewed in Tucson by the media, and they said, "What do you think of Tucson? How they taking care of you?" And his first comment was, "They don't take care of me at all like they did." That's you, because you were the man that kept on the up and up and kept him straight and narrow. And I think Ty can attest to that. Because Ty was his roomie, Ty was his teammate. Ty can tell you, Darryl, you were the guy that really did a good job of taking care of JR for us.
Ty, tell us a little bit about being a roommate. You're a Class A ball player trying to get to AA, and you're living with a major leaguer. Tell us a little bit about that story.
All right, let me tell you first. In 1979, we had an instructional league at the Dome, and I didn't know anyone. So I saw Nolan Ryan walk by. Then I saw JR, biggest human I ever seen in my life. And he had some big hands, right? And on his T-shirt he pitched in, it says first base looks so far, and on the back it says when you against JR. Oh, JR was he was a mentor, and when he first started talking to me, I didn't have an agent, so he hooked me up with his agent, and but he was more on the knowledgeable side, his teaching. He was great about teaching about the pros and the cons of baseball. And I want to add this to baseball too. When I was growing up, all the black parents said, "Hey, baseball is not for black people; it's for white people." And that's where in South Carolina, hardly any of the players play baseball, and they always play football and basketball. But they don't realize the number of them trying to make it. When you got everybody black, you can jump and run as fast as you can. That doesn't make any sense to me because the fact is that baseball is for anybody. But JR reminded me that during the league, you're going to go through some battles with some racist comments, and you can hear them in the stadium, especially in Columbus, Georgia. So, yeah, I was prepared for everything because he taught me what to do in certain situations.
You know what was crazy about the whole thing when Don came to me about, staying with JR, I knew the hoopla behind it because I worked in sports information at Bethune-Cookman. At that time, I was the youngest SID in the nation. And Don called me out of my office at Bethune-Cookman, and I worked with Mike Burton and Don and some more things in the front office. I called myself an assistant to the GM. That was my title. But
Right.
I did some of everything. And Don called me in the office. Watch this guy. He gave me the keys to this right here. A
Oh, Lord.
1982 Lincoln Town Car, green. He gave me the keys, and then he also gave me another key that unlocked the outfield gate. Because I used to drive that Lincoln Town Car underneath the scoreboard, through the gate to the clubhouse to keep JR away from the fans.
Right,
And
right, right,
after
right.
the game, I had to drive JR out of that gate into the nightlife. And when I say nightlife, JR was a heck of a person. He loved people. One story I want to tell is I introduced JR to my grandfather. My grandfather introduced me to baseball. My grandfather was a cab driver. And I introduced JR to him, and we played catch in my front yard. Never forget, my grandfather went in his trunk and got balls out, and we threw baseballs around in the yard. And JR met my grandfather, and then he said, "Take me to that place, Dara, that looked like Bourbon Street." Now, if you're from Daytona, when I call his name, you're going to know what I'm talking about. He wanted to go down to the bottom, the trop, George's place. He liked to go to George's place because he loved the music and he loved the people. But JR, like you said before, Don, he was one of the first guys that did the rehab thing in the minor leagues. And Don, if you remember, we set up him going to hospitals, talking to kids. He went into the community, went up to Bethune-Cookman University. He met a lot of different people. We took him all around the city, and he loved the people. He was a magnet. And I call myself mentoring him, but he also mentored me because the day he got called up to AAA, my grandfather passed that day. And I'll never forget, we were in the hotel, and I was JR. This is how JR did. Every time he loved Kentucky Fried Chicken, and every day like, "Darryl, get some of that Kentucky Fried Chicken." He would pull out $100 bill and give it to me. He would always throw the change in a bag. So he gets called up to AAA, and my grandfather died. I said, "Look, man, I got to go home." And my grandfather passed, and I will never forget. He gave me a long speech about listening to my parents and how I grew up and the kind of guy I was. I talked to Lula about this earlier today, even though she's not on right now. And he said, "Well, I'm going to help you get home." So he reached his hand. He used to always throw his change in a bag. Every time he broke 100, he threw change in the bag, right? So he dipped his hand down in that bag. And he pulled up some money for me to catch a cab. Guess how much he had in his hand? $5.55. I was like, "I can't get home with $5, man." He just said, "Take the whole bag." Gerald gave me like $5,000, man. Go home.
Like it wasn't nothing.
Like it was nothing. But later on in life, JR went back to the league and he didn't make it in. And he had some things that happened to him that really put him on course to where he is today, to where he was today. He passed away a year or two ago. and he had an incident where he lived up under the bridge and he was homeless. He was preaching the word of God. And I wish Lulu was on now that she can give us an insight on some of the things that happened. But the reason that we're on tonight is we want to help the family of J.R. Richard get his number retired. J.R. in 1988, J.R. was enshrined into the Houston Astros Hall of Fame. But now we want to get JR's number retired. That's the reason for this podcast. I've been planning this podcast now for almost 2 years when it was first brought to me about helping JR. So I know this is off the cuff, but Ty, tell us why JR's number should be retired. We knew that Nolan Ryan. I have to hang out with Jose Cruz and this kid. Jose Cruz had a Porsche. He used to let me clean his Porsche.
Right.
Tell us why JR's number should be retired.
I mean, because the fact is that he was a tutor. He tutored everything about life. It wasn't only about baseball. It was about life in general. Yeah. But what I took out of everything he was telling me is that he was preparing me for AAA in the major leagues. And that's why I think that anybody he saw, he was a friend. He spoke to everybody. So his number need to be retired.
Don, I looked in the up and down the Astros front office, and Carlos Alfonso. Remember him, Ty? Carlos Alfonso is still a scout for the Houston Astros.
Yep, he's still active. Yep.
And that's the last person that we remember. Don, tell us why his number should be retired.
Well, there's many reasons why. Not just, I think, obviously what he did on the field was amazing, and what Ty has alluded to, what he meant to other people as a mentor, his caring, his giving to other human beings. And I think more than anything else, the Astros turned their back on him after he was done playing. They turned their back on him. There's no reason that man should have ever been living under a bridge and experiencing homelessness. Okay, they turned their back on him for too long. When they finally woke up and retired his number, they should have done when they put him in the Hall of Fame, they should have done a lot more for him and his family, and they didn't do it. So it's long overdue to recognize this man, because the Astros, prior to the late 70s, early 80s, they hadn't done anything. They hadn't accomplished anything at all as far as on the field. JR is the one that brought them to national notoriety by his pitching, and they finally got to the playoffs because of him. Yeah, Nolan Ryan joined the team, sure, but it was JR who was the first catalyst that got him there. And if nothing else, the fact that he was the first one that brought them to national recognition by finally getting to the playoffs. And there's a picture right there, what he did for us with Easter Seals in Daytona. Here's a guy who's working on his rehab to get back to the big leagues, but he takes time out of that to help us work with Easter Seals and crippled kids. I mean, the man was an amazing human being. It's just, he deserves so much more than what Houston's ever given him, and certainly having his number retired belongs up there in the pillars with everybody else whose number's been retired in Houston.
AJ, look how long his arm is. Could you imagine him snapping off a fastball or two-seamer at over 100 miles an hour?
His slider was 96.
I did a little bit of my research. I say that he was 6'8".
Yep.
If I see 6'8" on the field, I'm scared. I don't care what position he's playing.
You're right.
We had a guy that was 6'6" that played first base and pitched a little bit. So I can only imagine 6'8".
Okay. I just got a message from Lula. Her Wi-Fi is acting up, but she's on and she's listening, guys. Go ahead.
So, AJ, you mentioned him being 6'8". I don't know if Darryl was with me, but at one point in time, JR needed some new clothes, and I had to take him to the Big and Tall Man store in Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
I had never been in a store like that in my life. it only caters to people that 300 pounds or 6'5" and up. And it was amazing the stuff that was in there. And he was like a kid in a candy store, picking out all these great clothes that for you and I it would be like a tent wrapped around us. But he was a big man, but he enjoyed shopping at the tall and big men's store.
Don't talk about it. Can't be mad at that.
Can you imagine you facing JR, and then the next day, the next pitcher come in is Phil Necro, and then after Phil Necro was Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Can you imagine facing that kind of pitcher?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh, I think you meant
David Lopes and Dusty Baker. Yeah, David Lopes and who was it? Dusty Baker did not play against JR. And I asked him, I said, Jared, why they not playing? He goes, because they got JR-itis. They don't play.
Hey, you just call a name. I want to give a shout out to Dusty Baker. Dusty, thank you for my ring. Dusty sent me a ring, World Championship ring, Houston Astros. Dusty Baker sent me this ring. Thank you, Sergeant Strong, for bringing it to me.
Is that from 2022?
Yes.
Yeah. Ty and I don't have that ring. Well, how'd you get that ring? What's going on?
I'm serious.
Well, I know Peoples. I know Peoples in Houston.
Well,
I know. Hey, Dusty Baker.
Dusty should help us get JR's number retired.
Yeah, I got to contact Dusty. Let me give you a short story. Before I worked with you, I also worked for the Dodgers and the Expos. I was a bat boy for the Dodgers. I remember Davey Lopes, Ron Say, Glenn Davis, and I remember Dusty Baker being on that squad during a preseason game. That's when I first met Dusty. And Sandra Strawn, she was very close friends with Dusty, and she told Dusty about me, and he claimed he remembered me. I should steal all his bats and take them home, the broken bats. But he did give me this. Let me see if I can put it on screen. Yeah, when I go out, sometimes I wear it, and people think I'm a world champion, even though I'm a nobody. Yeah, I'm a nobody, man. God just allowed me to be.
You're a world champion human being. You tell him that.
You see this right here, right? The Houston Astros gear. I wear it all the time. Yeah.
See that, Ty?
But,
he talks about those Dodgers and Expos, but he really came to form with us with the Astros.
With the Astros. Hey, Curtis Bird. Louis Meadows.
Oh my God. Tony Walker.
Tony Park. Oh man, Tony. Yeah, man. Tony. Hey, I went to Houston and I lived with Tony Walker a weekend right after the All-Star game. And I remember after the All-Star game, they played the Mets. And after the game, we hung out one night at this place called Jilly's in Houston, where they had a mechanical bull. Myself, Daryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, Wally Backman, and Tim Toffel. We were all in this place riding a mechanical bull, and Wally Backman swung on somebody, and a fight started.
That's wild.
And we all left out the side door. And Dwight Gooden pitched a one-hitter the next day at a 1:00 game. That was my first night ever hanging out with major leaguers, and I stayed up all night and watched Dwight Gooden pitch a one-hitter. But Major League Baseball guys, them guys always had they hung out together, and they were always friends on and off the field. Just like I remember Ty. I used to always put them Coors Lights in Ty locker by that Levi Garrett. By that Levi Garrett, man, because that's what the ball players like.
I got a chaw in right now.
Let me see your chaw. Let me see that chaw, boy.
Right there.
Hey. At the end, I went to the Levi Garrett because it was a little bit sweeter. But that doggone red man, boy, look at here. I had all the football players at Bethune-Cookman, all the wide receivers. We would chew red man doing warm-up. And they would be so buzzed out by the time it was time for 7-on-7. It was ridiculous, man. It was ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those were the days, man. And I'm just thankful that God allowed JR to pass our way. And he still lives in me every day. Every time I look at this picture right here, you know where we were? We were at the Pelican Bay in Daytona Beach.
Yeah. Yep.
Pelican Bay. I had some barbecue ribs on my plate. Boy, don't that look good? I got a flat stomach. Well, you don't see my stomach now.
Yeah.
It's like the globe. It's like the globe a little bit. Yeah, but it's okay. But
You know,
JR was a guy, man, that everybody loved. And I remember going to the dome, playing catch with Nolan Ryan and his kids, Jose Cruz, and JR told all the guys about me. Hey, that's my boy Darryl right there.
right.
So
You
it was
know,
an incredible ride for me as a young kid
yeah.
growing up around the Major League Baseball.
We are all better people from that year, having met JR and having with us that month in June of '82. We're all better because of it. No question.
Okay, now I want to try to flip the script a little bit. Ty, you see my cousin up right, Mr. AJ Mallory. He is the only African American head baseball coach in Volusia County. What could you do to help his program? What could you send? Where could you come? What could you do to help his program?
Knowledge. That's all I can offer right now, boy. Just the knowledge
Okay.
that people gave me and that I learned down the road. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. I talked to Enos Cabell. He told
Enos
me,
Cabell.
he told me. He said, "Hey man, I got to go get Jr." I said, Where's Jr.? He's living up under a bridge." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He went and got him a job at a Chrysler dealer. But this guy owned a lot of cars, so he got JR a job at the Chrysler place. And I was thanking God for that because he said that JR had no business living under a bridge.
That's incredible. Hey, the
Yeah.
last time I talked to JR, I remember distinctly. He called me by my name. He had that draw down,
Yeah.
and he remembered everything that happened when he came to Daytona, and he talked about how that coming to Daytona helped him get on track and help him get his life to where it was then. And he ended up being a preacher. He had his own church. And I think a week after I spoke with him, he passed. And that thing crushed me, man. That thing crushed me. But I remember what he told me about my grandfather and playing catch with my grandfather and J.R. Richards in my front yard on Magnolia Avenue here in Daytona Beach, one of the highlights of my life. And Don, I appreciate you for taking a young sports guru. This to call me Mr. Sports Illustrated because I had every Major League Baseball team starting lineup, memorized. And you brought me in and you helped myself, Mike Burton, and introduced me to some great people and introduced me to the game of baseball that I still do now. I broadcast for Bethune-Cookman University now. And Don, I just thank God for you. And I just want you to take me to Yankee Stadium with you the next time you go. That's all.
Brother, you deserve it. You earned every bit of it. And can I say something to Ty? Because
Yeah.
I haven't seen Ty in forever. So Ty, '82 was the year I met Patty, my beautiful wife, and I lost her last year.
Right.
JR used to call her my main squeeze. Hey, Don, how's your main squeeze doing? Anyway, Ty, you were always her favorite. Now think about this. Her and I were together from '82 to last year. She met a lot of baseball players in the minor leagues and major leagues. And to her dying day, Ty, you were her favorite. I just want you to know that.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that.
She loved you.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a special year, '82. Your smile, the way you went about it on the field, winning the batting championship, you never changed. You could go 0 for 4, which was rare, and you could go 4 for 4. You never changed. You were the same dude.
Yeah, my mom taught me that.
Yeah. Yep. You're amazing.
Look, guys, I would love to talk to you a lot more, but the dinner bell is already rung.
Yeah. It's 7:30 your time. Guys, we've been on 50 minutes. I'm out of time. I'm definitely never out of word, but I want you guys to hear this right here. And you're gonna hear more from this young man right here. Listen to this.
I was born by the river in a little tin hole. Just like the river I've been running ever since. But it's been a long
What
You've
position?
been watching. What? That's Jamal.
Is it infielder or an outfielder?
That's Jamal Roberts. He's on American Idol. This kid is a gospel guru, but he went to Sunday's Best twice and got turned away. He goes to American Idol and he won the hearts of all Americans, man. He's combining people from all over the place. I think it's great for America what he's doing, man.
Nice.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm out of time.
See you guys later.
I'm never ever out of sports.
Yeah.
I remember you. I remember a lot you did for my life.
Glory to God.
We gotta do this for JR, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll get it done.
Lulu, we're gonna do it for JR.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm out of time. Never out of sports. You've been watching the locker room. Good night.
Good night,
Bye,
everybody.
Don.
Good night, Ty. Good night, AJ.
Good night.
Good night, man.
Yeah.